I'm here at the 2015 New York Comic Con, and I'm checking out a comic that I checked out last year. It's called Night Stars, and it's very interesting. It involves alien abductions and children. Two very interesting things that, when combined in comics, make for a rather unique mix. So I'm talking here with the fellows who made it. What's your name, good sir?
Tim Laddie.
Michael DeChesser.
It's very nice to meet you. Now, could you tell the folks at home what your roles are on this comic?
I am the writer and the artist of the comic and the creator, so.
And my company, DeChesser Media, has optioned the rights to this comic from Mr. Laddie over here.
I see. So you're the publisher, essentially, and very cool. And you're the fellow who made it. Well, I'll be talking to you first, Mr. Laddie. So now, could you tell the folks at home quickly what your comic's about?
Basically, it's about these three kids who are taken aboard a flying saucer, and when they're on there, the saucer kind of morphs around them and puts them in these suits that make them look like aliens. But the saucer is actually a time machine, so it takes them back in time where they crash land in Roswell, New Mexico, and so they are the Roswell aliens. And from there, it's their journeys throughout time dealing with history and mysteries. They knock Amelia Earhart's plane out the sky, they get a Yeti as a pet, they see the pyramids get built. So anything that in the past that was kind of unsolved, it's these three little kids that are behind it, these three sixth graders.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Now, I mean, I'm a big fan of stories that involve time travel. Are you a fan of Doctor Who by any chance?
I've only seen a couple episodes, so I gotta be honest with y'all. But I hear it's awesome.
It is.
I need to watch it. So yes.
Yes. What kind of stuff did inspire Night Stars? I'd like to know.
Actually, a lot of stuff did. Sliders was probably a big thing. Back to the Future, obviously. There's actually a little hidden DeLorean in the first issue and stuff like that. So I throw in little Easter eggs from other time travel stories. And just stuff when I was growing up, cartoon shows. There's actually a cartoon show that barely anybody remembers, and now I can't remember the name of it. But it was about these three kids that flew around in like the Sphinx or something like that. It was a really strange show. But that was one of my influences as well.
Very cool. So now, for how long have you been a comic artist?
Professionally, probably hitting a decade now, something like that. I went to Chicago and I got a job with Ape Entertainment, and I've been drawing comic books ever since. And I just finished a stint with IDW doing Creeple People.
Very cool. Now, what made you want to get started working with comics?
I don't think it was a choice, man, to be honest with you. I just loved comic books. I grew up watching like the old Adam West and Burt Ward stuff on TV. So I think it was just comics chose me, so yeah, man.
So now, if you, okay, so I have to ask this of everybody. What is your favorite comic of all time?
Favorite comic of all time? I'm going to throw you for a little bit of a loop here. It's actually Spider-Girl. It's the story of May Parker, who is Peter and Mary Jane's daughter, and she inherits spider powers. And it came out in the 90s, and I'm friggin' obsessed with it. I think it's unbelievable. It's 200 issues. I keep telling all my friends about it. They're like, dude, you're 34 years old. You shouldn't be reading Spider-Girl. I don't care. Spider-Girl's the bomb. Go read it. If you're not reading Night Stars, go read Spider-Girl from the 90s. So, yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Read Spider-Girl if you get the opportunity. Oh, from the 90s. That's the distinction. Okay. Now, also, so what's your favorite part of the working as a comics artist and writer?
There's a lot of great parts about it, but I guess the scheduling is pretty loose, that you make up your own schedule. So I get to hang out with my cat all day long and watch TV shows and stuff like that, listen to music, wear my basketball shorts to work, So, yeah.
Now, what would you say is the hardest part of being a comic artist and writer?
That you make your own schedule and you work from home and you wear your basketball shorts all day long and stuff like that. So it's a tit for tat. Yeah, you have to wake up and you have to be ready and stuff like that. So it's very, you have to be very self-motivated, because you can easily catch yourself, playing Xbox or something like that. Yeah, Xbox and video games, if you want to make it in this industry, throw them out the window. They are a time vampire. They are no good. They're poison. So, yeah.
Now, what would you say is... if you had any advice for young comic artists, what would it be?
It would be to draw. There's not a trick here. I heard a quote the other day. So you got to be committed. You know what I mean? If you like bacon and eggs, the chicken was part of the product, but the pig was committed. You know what I mean? You got to be committed to it. So go for it. Go for it all the way. Draw all the time. Draw everything, and don't get discouraged, because we all make mistakes. So yeah.
So what you're saying essentially is you have to be the bacon if you want to make the bacon.
You have to be committed. Yeah, you have to be committed. Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting. So now, how long have you been working on the Night Stars comic?
Probably a few years now. I actually, it's based off of a Van Gogh painting that I had hanging over my couch. And one day it just kind of like, I was like, that would be kind of cool. And that's where it kind of started from. So probably 2-3 years now, maybe 4 or 5 years, really, to be honest with you. I've been picking around with it.
That is a very interesting source of inspiration.
If you look throughout all the issues, there's actually, I put Van Gogh paintings everywhere. So if there's a painting on the wall in the background, it's usually going to be a Van Gogh piece. It's kind of like an Easter egg and kind of like an homage to stealing the title of the book from him. But he's not going to sue me, so you can't get me for it.
Now, you have as good as obligated me to ask, have you seen the Van Gogh episode of Doctor Who?
No, I haven't. I'm more inclined to watch Doctor Who now, though.
Yes, if you have the opportunity, check that one out. It is absolutely brilliant. Well, Mr. Laddie, it has been a pleasure speaking with you.
It's called Mysterious Cities of Gold. Go read Spider-Girl and go watch Mysterious Cities of Gold from the 80s. It's awesome. So, yeah.
Thank you for letting us know. Mysterious Cities of Gold, ladies and gentlemen. So now, this has been Mr. Laddie and
Michael DeChesser.
It's been a pleasure talking with both of you.
Things you should hear. One of the interesting things that Tim is actually very humble. One of the interesting things is that this started out as a Kickstarter campaign a couple of years ago, and that's how I got wind of it. And I went online on the Kickstarter, and I saw that he was looking for funding for his first one, for Night Stars issue 1. And I was intrigued by the story, and I contributed to his Kickstarter campaign. And when the first book was finished and it came out, and everything was beautiful and looked great, and the story was really terrific, my company came and optioned the rights to market more issues and also look for movie and animation deals for him. And that's where we came in, correct.
So now you're the publisher. So you stumbled across this fellow by Kickstarter. Do you do a lot of discovery through Kickstarter for new comic projects to publish?
No, actually I don't. This is actually a first time for my company to go into this arena, and we felt that Tim Laddie's property is a great vehicle to be launched into this type of arena.
Very interesting, because I mean, Kickstarter is really taking off as a venue, not just for funding a project, but also for essentially picking up interest in a thing.
Exactly, and not only that, but since last year was our first Comic-Con where we launched issue 1, literally had them printed a couple days right before Comic-Con, it also got the interest of another producer. His name is Michael Uslan. He's the executive producer of all the Batman films and executive producer of the Lego movie. And now he has partnered with us to help bring this more mainstream. So he's looking into a development deal for us for multiple animation series, a film, crossover into video games, as well as into merchandise.
Wow, that's really quite fantastic. So
he is very humble. He's all about the art, all about the story, and I'm all about getting him a little more well known and getting this a little more mainstream.
So what you're saying is we should be keeping an eye out for Night Stars, the television show.
You should be keeping 2 eyes out for Night Stars. Correct.
I'll be keeping my eyes on the skies. Oh, Mr. Laddie, and forgive me.
DeChesser, Michael DeChesser.
Mr. DeChesser, it has been wonderful talking with both of you. I cannot wait to read the next episode. Well, you got me already. I cannot wait to read the next issue of Night Stars. Now, for folks at home, where can they go to find out more about these comics?
They go to nightstarscomic.com, and they will have a link to the Comixology page to download digital versions, have press releases about news and updates, as well as links to our Facebook page and fan pages.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it here, folks. For Black Man and Robin, this is Jordan Cameron, signing off.